Fans love to talk about magic, but every now and then the game serves up something that really feels unreal. That's exactly what happened when the FA Cup fifth-round draw came out, and suddenly you had Hollywood, Premier League royalty, and traditional Welsh football all colliding in one incredible matchup. On a quiet Monday evening, during what is usually a pretty straightforward FA Cup draw, Wrexham AFC found out they would be welcoming Chelsea to the racecourse ground. In one moment, a club that not long ago was grinding away in non-league football discovered they're about to host one of the most successful, most famous teams in English football history. And the way the draw unfolded, with cameras rolling on Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as it happened, just added another layer to a story people all over the world are now talking about. For anyone who somehow missed the last few years, Wrexham AFC are not just another lower league side anymore. The club has become a global talking point since being taken over by actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. What started as a slightly mad-sounding project, Hollywood stars buying a struggling Welsh club, has turned into one of the most watched football projects on the planet. Back-to-back promotions have taken Wrexham from non-league obscurity all the way into the championship. The racecourse ground, once known mainly to local supporters and hardcore football fans, is now recognized around the world. So when the FA Cup fifth-round draw paired Wrexham versus Chelsea and confirmed that the tie would be played at the racecourse, it felt like a perfect collision of everything the modern game has become: tradition, ambition, and a whole lot of star power. The reaction from Ryan Reynolds captured that perfectly. He wasn't alone when the draw went down. He was sitting next to his friend Hugh Jackman, with cameras rolling. Jackman clocked the outcome just before Reynolds did, spotting that Chelsea, a club stacked with internationals and used to Champions League nights, would be coming to this historic little ground in North Wales. As it sank in, Reynolds just blurted out, "Holy crap." 2 words, and you could see everything in them: shock, excitement, and that sense of, is this really happening? That short clip took off instantly online. Fans shared it across platforms. Media outlets replayed it on loop, and it quickly became one of the standout moments from the FA Cup draw. It wasn't stage drama. It was a genuinely stunned reaction from someone who understands exactly how big a deal this is for Wrexham and for the community around the club. But to fully appreciate why Wrexham versus Chelsea in the FA Cup fifth round is such a huge occasion, you have to look at what the Welsh side have actually done on the pitch to get here. This isn't a case of a minnow scraping through unlucky breaks alone. Wrexham's route to this stage has included some genuinely impressive results, including victories over Nottingham Forest and Ipswich Town. Both of those clubs have deep histories in English football, and Forest in particular are an established Premier League side. To knock teams like that out of the competition says a lot about how far Wrexham have come in such a short space of time. Reaching the fifth round of the FA Cup for the first time since 1997 is a major milestone in itself. For older fans, it brings back memories of past cup adventures. For newer supporters, including the huge number who discovered Wrexham through the Hollywood connection and the club's documentary series, this is their first taste of what a real cup run feels like. The build-up, the nerves, the idea that something unforgettable might be about to happen. This tie against Chelsea is the natural next step in that journey. It's not just a glamour fixture where everyone turns up, takes some photos, and goes home. It's a serious football test against one of the giants of the English game. Chelsea might be going through a rebuilding phase, and they might not be as dominant as they were under past managers, but they are still Chelsea. Multiple Premier League titles, Champions League trophies, star names throughout the squad. For Wrexham, playing them at the racecourse ground is the perfect way to see exactly how far the club's level has risen. On the league side, Wrexham's position in the championship tells you a lot about their progress. Under manager Phil Parkinson, they've climbed all the way up to 8 in the table. That spot would leave them just outside the playoff places, but very much in the conversation. For a club that was battling in non-league not that long ago, simply being realistically close to a possible Premier League push is an extraordinary achievement. Parkinson has spoken repeatedly about building things the right way, not just chasing short-term bursts of success, but focusing on sustainable growth. That means improving the squad, yes, but also investing in infrastructure, training facilities, and the general structure of the club. From that point of view, the Chelsea tie isn't only about 90 minutes and a result. It's a measuring stick. It's a chance to see, up close and personal, what the highest level looks like, and how Wrexham's current project compares. And then there's the emotional side of it, which you can't ignore. Wrexham's story has gone far beyond football at this point. It's turned into a global narrative about community, second chances, and what can happen when a small club gets big backing, but still stays connected to its roots. The racecourse ground isn't just a stadium anymore. It's become a symbol, the place where local supporters and international fans from across the world come together. Welcoming Chelsea to that ground is, in many ways, a dream scenario. You got one of England's top clubs walking out at the oldest international football stadium in the world still in use, with Hollywood owners watching from the director's box and cameras documenting every moment. It combines old football heritage with the modern global spotlight in a way that very few fixtures can. From Chelsea's perspective, this is a classic FA Cup tie as well. Top flight clubs are always wary of these away trips to historic, smaller grounds. The pitch, the intensity of the crowd, the atmosphere. It's completely different to playing a league game at a giant, modern stadium. The Chelsea players and staff will know that, whatever the gulf in resources or league position, Wrexham will treat this like the biggest night of their season. The home fans will be right on top of them. Every tackle will be roared, and any sign of fragility from a Premier League side will be seized upon. Financially and culturally, this fixture is pure gold for Wrexham. The gate receipts, the global TV coverage, the merchandise sales, all of that brings in money that can be reinvested into the team and the club's long-term plans. On top of that, the draw keeps Wrexham in headlines across the football world. People who might never usually care about a championship side are suddenly searching for Wrexham versus Chelsea FA Cup and learning about the racecourse, the town, and the journey they've been on. Locally, the excitement is on another level. For the town of Wrexham, this isn't just about 90 minutes of football. It's about showing the world who they are. Hotels, bars, restaurants. They're all going to feel the impact of Chelsea and their supporters coming to town. Kids who have grown up watching Premier League matches on television will get to see some of those players in person in their own backyard. For long-suffering supporters who stuck by the club during dark times, administration scares, and years stuck in non-league, nights like this feel like a reward. It's also worth remembering just how rare this type of matchup is for a club like Wrexham. Yes, they played big side before, and yes, they have a proud history of memorable upsets in cups. But to be in the fifth round of the FA Cup at home against a club with Chelsea's profile in the exact moment when Wrexham are on this dramatic upward trajectory under Hollywood ownership, that combination doesn't come around very often. It feels like a once-in-a-generation event. The owners, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, know that better than anyone. Since taking over, they've leaned heavily into the emotional side of football. The stories of the fans, the staff, and the players. They've built a brand around Wrexham that blends humor, heart, and genuine passion for the sport. This Chelsea tie is like the ultimate showcase for that project. Hollywood cameras pointed at a real, gritty, historic football night, not on a film set, but in an FA Cup knockout match. The fact that Hugh Jackman was sitting next to Reynolds as the draw came out only amplified the crossover appeal. It turned a basic procedural moment, reading names out of bowls, into something people who don't even follow the FA Cup were suddenly interested in. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman react to Wrexham versus Chelsea draw became its own headline, pulling in entertainment news audiences and football lovers at the same time. For Phil Parkinson and his squad, though, all of that glamour and attention will eventually have to fade into the background. When the whistle blows, it will come down to basic football truths. Can Wrexham stay compact defensively? Can they handle Chelsea's pressure without panicking? Can they make the most of set pieces and transitions? Most importantly, can they feed off the crowd's energy without losing their shape or discipline? From Chelsea's point of view, the pressure is simple. They are expected to win. The FA Cup history books are full of underdog stories, and the last thing an elite club wants is to be remembered as the team that got knocked out by a lower league opponent on a wild night in a small stadium. That's the magic of this competition. No matter how big you are, you're never completely safe. For Wrexham, the range of possible outcomes is wide. On one end, they could be outclassed, learn some hard lessons, and walk away with nothing but experience. On the other, they could push Chelsea all the way, maybe even pull off something extraordinary and add another legendary chapter to an already incredible modern history. Even a brave, competitive performance in a narrow defeat would reinforce the idea that this club truly belongs at a higher level now. Either way, the tie has already done something important. It has reminded people what makes the FA Cup special. It's not just about top 6 Premier League clashes or big finals at Wembley. It's about days like the one that's coming at the Racecourse Ground, where a club reborn under Hollywood ownership, carried by passionate local fans and a smart football project, gets to test itself against the kind of opposition it once could only dream of facing. Wrexham versus Chelsea in the FA Cup 5th round is more than just a fixture. It's a snapshot where football is right now, global, interconnected, full of money and media, but still capable of delivering nights where the underdog has a real shot and the world is watching to see what happens. And judging by Ryan Reynolds' stunned, "Holy crap," when the draw was made, even the people at the center can't quite believe how far